All right, welcome into, of course, Building the Broncos. We appreciate everyone being here from Broncos country. I am your host, Carl Dumler, and with me today, of course, is my good friend, Mr. Nick Kendell. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, actually been pretty busy. Started a new study at where I work, so that's good, keeping me going and have a little bit of time to do some football stuff as well. And man, we've reached the crazy season. Every single rumor is true. The Broncos are moving up. The Broncos are trading back. The Broncos are taking defense. The Broncos are taking offensive line, wide receiver. The draft just needs to get here already. I mean, as much as I'm kind of anxious because once the draft happens, who knows the next sports thing that's going to happen given the state of the world, but it just needs to get here.
Right. I saw something today of somebody saying Jeffrey Okudah is not even in the top 2 cornerbacks of this draft.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're listening alphabetically, I guess that's true.
Yeah, there you go. But no, they actually said that there was, I think it was AJ Terrell and, of course, CJ Henderson were above him. And so, yeah, you're right. It is time for it to get here. And especially people have had a little bit of time on their hands, and I think it's just gotten a little crazy with some things going on. So, yeah, we're kind of excited. We get to talk about our big boards tonight, everybody. If you want to post some of your thoughts on our big boards or even what your big boards would be compared to ours, post them in the comments. But want to make sure you can find us on Twitter. You can find me at Carl Dumler MHH and Nick at Nick Kendell MHH. And, of course, you can find the podcast Twitter account at BTB Football Pod. And make sure you guys are subscribing to the show wherever you listen to podcasts. We really appreciate it. And leave us a rating and a comment. I promise, especially Nick reads those and I read them as well. And we really appreciate reading them, getting any kind of feedback. But also don't miss out on all of our great content at milehighhuddle.com, part of the Maven Coalition and Sports Illustrated. Also know that our podcast is powered by Overtime Media. All right. So getting into our big list here, and just want to give a little shout out to all of our people coming in here as we get ready for this show. Again, we're down to our last week. 9 days till the draft? Man, we already got it. Terry Randall coming in with hashtag Nick's Beer Fund, and just gotta say, I got the red Solo Cup tonight.
Hey.
Mixing it up.
Classic here in Iowa City every football season.
Yep, gotta have it. So
I've honestly been thinking about the virtual beer pong as well. I mean, I don't want to brag too much, but back in the college days, Buddy and I were pretty darn good at beer pong.
Yeah.
But or water pong, whatever we're allowed to say. But thank you for the better shirt. Thanks, you guys.
Liking the goatee.
Yeah, thanks, Mom.
He's even got the curly Sue hair going.
I know. Gosh darn, I need a haircut. But thank you guys so much. And we got Steve coming in also already. Thank you, Steve. $10. Can't believe that guy on Twitter did that to you. Did you guys see Albright's tweet? He thinks that one of the top receivers will be there for Denver, either Ruggs or Lamb. Did see that. Honestly, it's the draft season. We're not going to know until it happens. Yeah. Everybody, the Broncos didn't think Bradley Chubb would be there at 5. Nobody thought Clelin Ferrell was going to go at 4. Picking at 15, you can hope, you can go through so many scenarios, but in the end, you're just I guess not a victim, but you just have to sit down and buckle up, and whatever happens, happens.
Right. Well, and especially this year, it is so hard to know exactly what's going to happen. And Steve, I appreciate it. And I just want to say a quick shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for supporting me today. It honestly brought up the feels in me today, just seeing how you guys supported me and Mile High Huddle. You guys are the best. Seriously, there's nobody better than you guys. And so I just, you guys deserve all the credit for how you guys support us and support our website. And we love talking football with you guys. You guys are so smart. It's a breath of fresh air. You would not believe some of the things we have to fight off. But no, yeah, I did see that again. Like Nick said of Albright's, it's hard to tell.
It's possible, but the draft is unpredictable. That's what makes it one of the best live television events every single year. Every single team is getting better, and it's totally wild. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So it's literally the best reality TV. I'd put it right up there with the actual game. But we're psychopaths. We talk the draft. I'm ready to start talking 2021 honestly as well. So,
and I love this. We got a lot of people from Canada. You guys are the best. Jake Jarvis, 27. Hey guys, big fan of the pod. First time catching it live. Keep up the great work. Hashtag Broncos country in Canada. As they say, it's a state of mind wherever Broncos country is at. And glad that we could have you in here for your first live show with us. You can ask us any questions for sure, obviously. And let's see, Dylan coming in. Hey, appreciate you, Dylan. I saw a lot of your comments today. We're behind all of you 100%. We know that. I mean, we feel it every day. You guys are seriously the best. And of course, Stu coming in. Always got to love Stu. And every time I see his picture, it just brings back good memories of when I lived in Seattle. And MHH rocks. Yes, it does. It has been one of the best communities I've ever been a part of, football and life in general. So you guys are just the best. So again, we appreciate you guys being in here. Oh, yeah, it has been. Yes, Nick, you've become one of my great friends in my life, even though we've never met in person.
State of being, man.
Yep, exactly.
Also Nick's Beer Fund. But anyway, I will say one thing before we move on here. Carl's about as nice of a guy as you'll ever meet. Anybody who has a problem with him, it doesn't know him. So just moving on. Dumb people make dumb comments and out themselves every day. And sometimes I do that on the podcast. But anyway, speaking of outing ourselves as dumb people, let's get back to the football here at hand. Our top 30 big boards. We're going to kind of do it 5 by 5. So we're going to start 30 to 26 first. And I got mine here. I'll color code it on the phone too, because I'm super organized and I work with spreadsheets all day. So I might as well do that for football as well. My number 30th player on my Denver Broncos big board. And I will note this is a non-quarterback big board. Broncos have Drew Lock. I'll be completely honest. I have done very little work on quarterback this season. Why would I? Drew Lock's going to be the quarterback. Maybe some later guys. I do like that Northern Colorado quarterback. Tom Flacco, Joe Flacco's brother, is a late round guy. As everyone's probably freaking out right now. But that's life. But my 30th player, Trevon Diggs, cornerback from Alabama. He's my number 7 cornerback. So I have 7 cornerbacks in my top 30. So interesting player there. My number 29 player, and gosh darn it, I should have looked up how to say his name correctly before we got going here. Noah Igbehanahi, cornerback from Auburn, my 6th cornerback. Number 28, I have Kenneth Murray, linebacker from Oklahoma. My number 2 linebacker, I don't have Isaiah Simmons as a linebacker, I'll say that. Or actually, my number 3 linebacker, excuse me. I don't have Isaiah Simmons as a linebacker. And then at number 27, I have Christian Fulton. He seemed to be falling a little bit. I still really like the tape. His last 2 years have been really good. He can play a variety of coverages. He's got good hips. I think he's going to be a really good cornerback. And then my number 26 player, my linebacker number 2, Zach Bond, who just got caught today just came out today that he had a diluted sample. So I'm not sure what that means exactly for his stock. It came out of the combine. Was he juicing? Was it because of the weight? I don't know. I do know that I love his tape. I think that he can transfer to that off-ball linebacker position really well. I like his coverage potential much more than Kenneth Murray. And I think he's got just more versatility. So I actually have Bond above Kenneth Murray in my rankings. So Bond 26, 27, Christian Fulton, 28, Kenneth Murray, 29, Noah Igbehanahi, and number 30, Trevon Diggs.
All right. Well, we have the same number 30, Trevon Diggs.
All right. Well, we did not show it to each other, people.
I know we didn't. Exactly.
No idea.
I almost sent it to you, but I was like, no, let's just make this a secret here.
If we're doing it live, we'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it live. We're doing it live.
Yep, exactly.
My number 29, I have Laviska Shenault.
Okay.
Number 28, Jalen Johnson.
Okay.
Number 27, Austin Jackson.
Okay.
And number 26, Justin Mutabuke.
Wow, you have Justin Matabuki that high. Okay, so I guess the one that shocks me the most is, I guess the way we'll do it 5 by 5, and then I'll kind of ask you a question about it. We'll see if there's some comments in the questions here as well. And Todd Anderson talking here about the diluted samples. Obviously, who knew we were going to talk about urine this quickly in today's episode? But Laviska Shenault at, where did you say, 29? 28, 29?
Shenault was 29.
Okay, I don't have Laviska that high, and it's just because the injuries are that concerning. It's the injuries on top of his role in this offense. I liked him much more, I think, in the Scangarello offense, where you saw that kind of versatile yak weapon from the slot, that Deebo Samuel role. Is that the case in the Shermer offense? It's just enough question marks for me that I don't have him in my top 30.
Okay, well, I still, the talent is just so hard to ignore.
Yeah.
I mean, it pops off the screen when he is healthy. This guy is one of the biggest weapons in all of college football. And you talk about with the Shermer offense, a guy that can make plays after the ball's in his hands. Well, that's Shenault. I mean, he's a running back once he has the ball in his hands. And I mean, a big bruising running back, that's part of his problem at times, obviously, with some of the injuries. But it's just hard for me to completely ignore the talent. I mean, at one point, I had this guy's in my top 3 wide receivers. And then the injuries kept piling up, and then the combine was so bad and everything else. And it's still one of those, you have to go back to the tape and say, this is a guy that's worth it. He's worth a chance. Now, I wouldn't take him till the second round.
Yeah.
But because there's quarterbacks that are going to be taken, there's going to be some other positions that the Broncos don't need that are going to be taken. I mean, that would push him down into the second round, even though he's in my top 30.
Yeah, I hear you. I only have one player in my top 30 that has injury concerns, and we'll get to him here. But just because of the state of the world right now, players not being able to go to teams and get medical check there, it's just too much of a risk for me. So I just wash my hands of them. I mean, we're really going to lean into the talk here with the anecdotes like that.
Yeah.
But we have some more here. Oh, yep.
Yes, I love this. Charlie Beagle. He's either an epidemiologist or a bus driver. I forget.
Both.
And Bronx legend coming in. Keep repping, guys. Much love. # state of being Broncos all day. That is exactly right. Broncos all day. We really appreciate it, man. And all right.
We got Brian Happenstall as well.
Happenstall, sweet shirt, Nick. # state of being Seattle, Washington. Go Broncos.
The best
so
logo.
Ready for this season. I really hope it happens.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really disappointed if we don't have a season. I mean, obviously, any kind of sports. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when it gets here. But right now, we're acting like we're going to have a season. And yeah, there's a lot to be excited about with this team, and especially if they can have a great draft. Yeah. Man, the sky's the limit for what the Broncos could be this year. And
I definitely agree with you. I'm in my shorts. It looks like no pants. Also, shout out to my mother. Some of her cookies here. She makes cookies and cream cookies. So it's literally cookieception. It's a cookie with cookies in it. So I'm going to snack here a little bit. Actually, we should keep going on the draft here. But any questions for me about my 30 through 26? I have obviously 2 corners there. Every single one was a defensive player. So Diggs, Igbahanahi, Kenneth Murray, Fulton, and Bond from 30 to 26.
I thought this was a good one because we both have him on our list. Is Trayvon Diggs a scheme fit for Denver from Dylan?
I think, you saw Fangio when they had Prince Mukamara kind of adapt that scheme a little bit and use him much more as a press corner. I think that's where you're going to want to use Diggs as well. You know, he doesn't really have the hip fluidity or the twitch where you're going to want him to play off ball. You want to use that size, that length at the line of scrimmage. So I think Fangio can use him in that way. It's just, he has to play that specific role. And right now, honestly, I don't have a guy that fits that role. Maybe Bosby, but I like Bosby almost a little bit more off ball. Boye's better off ball. Callahan. So I could see it. It's honestly just comes down to the value and putting the guy in the best spot to succeed.
Yeah.
So it's not like the tackling is the worst issue. Sometimes it's hit or miss. And, he got lit up against LSU, but so did Terrell, who's going to make an appearance in my top 25 as well. So that's just everybody against LSU. Great quarterback and great wide receiver. You're going to get beat.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll start my next list since you did the first ones. 25, I have Grant Delpit. 24, I have your boy Zach Bond. Wow. 23, I have Josh Jones. 22, I have Christian Fulton. And 21, I have Jeff Gladney.
Okay, so say that one more time. Follow along.
All right. Grant Delpit at 25, Zach Bond 24, Josh Jones 23, Christian Fulton 22, Jeff Gladney 21.
Wow. Okay, interesting. And do you have quarterbacks in your big board?
No, I don't.
No quarterbacks? Okay. So I guess I am curious about why you have Bond so high. Yeah, I thought I was high on Bond.
Just going back and watching him a little bit more, he has that versatility. I think with the Broncos, he's going to be given a year to really he's going to be a hybrid player that they're going to put in there and do some of the Hollins kind of thing of play him all over and see where he fits best. But he's going to have a year to develop and see what he can do. And with the Broncos, I just feel like they've done so well, this coaching staff with linebackers in the past, and you get a guy with that kind of athleticism, that guy with that kind of those instincts that he shows on the field. And I just think he can really do something. So that's why I would have him pretty high up on my board.
And one thing I love about the Wisconsin linebackers is that they are very versatile in that front seven. All the linebackers cross-train. You play edge, you play middle linebacker. You are moved around constantly. And we saw with Joe Schobert, he was essentially an edge rusher coming in from Wisconsin. I think he was a 5th-round pick, and now he's one of the highest paid linebackers in football. So I really do like Bond a lot, and I think he has more coverage upside and honest to God instincts than we saw from Murray. So it'll be interesting there. My 25 through 20. So at 25, I have Cesar Ruiz, my favorite interior offensive lineman in this class, plug and play. I think he's going to be a decade-long player. Maybe not a level of like a Bradbury, who was drafted in the first round last year, was an elite athlete. I think he was taking 15th. Was he taking 15th overall? I don't know. Wherever the Vikings took him. But I really like Cesar Ruiz at 25. 24, I have AJ Terrell from Clemson. He did not have the best game against LSU, but that first half, I thought he played very well. He got beat a couple times deep, but the tools he has, the length he has, I thought he looked good all season, despite not having the toughest schedule. I'm going to bank on the tools there, the upside. I mean, who was it last year? They had Trayvon Mullen, who was one of the first picks in the 2nd round. AJ Terrell is much better than Trayvon Mullen. I mean, he really is. So I really like AJ Terrell. My number 23, I have Ezra Cleveland, a guy who moves pretty well, solid athlete. I mean, obviously we saw at the combine, one of the better athletes at the offensive tackle position. If it wasn't for Tristan Wirfs, we'd be talking about Ezra Cleveland a little bit more. He did play with a foot injury this season, which kind of limited him. I had him lower, and in hindsight, going back also watching 2018, I like him a little bit better. That foot injury dinged him, and he still played through it. So points for that. Number 22, I have Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State, wide receiver, speed guy, really quick speed as well. I mean, he gets up to 0 to 100 quickly. Good yak player. A little bit of a transition. His routes are not there right now. His release is even less developed than his route tree, but I love the upside. My number 21, I actually have Austin Jackson. Length, speed, pass blocking, 20 years old, and also a guy who lost an entire offseason program because he donated bone marrow to his sister. So, I mean, that's huge. He didn't have strength this year. He didn't lift weights all freaking summer. I mean, I'm sorry. I know Epinesa killed him, but I'm banking on some upside there. I know it's scary, but I don't know. The tools are there. And I also think he's probably, honestly, is one of the best pure left tackles in this class as far as the fluidity and the movement. A lot of these guys are right tackles, which is still a great tackle class, but still. And then number 20 I have is, was that right? 20? Nope. I listed them all. So 25, Ruiz, Terrell, 24, 23, Ezra Cleveland, 22, Brandon Ayuk, number 21, Austin Jackson. So any questions there? Let's see if we have any. We got some comments here as well.
Yeah. I wanted to, King Hicks coming in, hashtag Nick's Cookie Funds, hashtag share the wealth, hashtag looks yum.
Not clear.
I've seen pictures of his mom's baking and it looks amazing. And I'm not usually a guy that likes baked goods. So yes, Nick might have to put on his Twitter where you could actually buy those. I don't know if his mom.
I don't know if she can ship them that far.
Yeah.
They got to be cold. But okay, so you have any? Here we go.
And then
from Paul here.
Paul coming in. Hi, my friends. Give me rugs or give me death.
I like
hard to disagree.
I don't want you to die, Paul.
Yeah.
You mean too much to me.
Yep. I hope I don't have to get my affairs in order. Chenault in third. Hashtag SH message board. Awesome. Awesome group shout out. Yes, it is an awesome message board that we are a part of. And yes, we appreciate you, Paul, coming in. And if we can get rugs at 15, man, I will be a happy camper. Like the rest of the draft, I'll care about it, obviously, but just getting that one player will leave me smiling and just skipping through the streets.
I won't say that because I'll be happy for one day and then the second round will roll around and they'll pick a DeMarcus Walker or something and I'll be just immediately irritated. So I cannot make that promise.
That could be true. That could be true. But
yes. Any thoughts on 25 through 21 for me? I have 3 offensive linemen there, 1 cornerback Terrell, and then obviously Brandon Ayuk. Who ends up being my wide receiver 7.
Okay. Well, you have more wide receivers than me, which is shocking. It's kind of one of those for me. It's either I have the top 3 guys and then the rest are just so bunched together.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to really distinguish on some of them on a couple different things. Ezra Cleveland, that's the one I forgot on my list. I wish I would have put him on my list now. I'm a little disappointed in myself. I completely forgot him. So that is the one that kind of makes me go, what was I thinking?
Well, next time, always. We got to let John Elway know that Carl forgot Ezra Cleveland this time. He's sorry, but you can draft him. He should be
exactly. He should draft him. And before we get to our next five, Terry Randall coming in once again. Really appreciate it, Terry. Always a great supporter of the podcast. Love it. Does Judy Lamb Ruggs plus Fant plus Sutton equal 3,300 plus yards? Hashtag state of being, stay safe, Broncos country.
It depends on how good the defense is. If you're playing from behind, you're going to see more yardage output. So I would think so, but also you have two great running backs. They might try to play a little bit more, explosive pass game, but not a high volume pass game. Yeah. So it really depends on the game flow.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I can see Sutton being that 1,300, 1,400 yard kind of guy this year, especially if we get another guy like Judy Lamb Ruggs on the other side. And probably those guys would be around the 800 mark. Yeah. 900 mark, somewhere in there. So at that point, you're at 2,400 yards. I don't think Fant would be quite 1,000-yard kind of guy, but 800 yards wouldn't surprise me with him either. Yeah. So, and to me, it's more about like you kind of said, the
synergy of the offense.
Right. Exactly. If the run game's working, if they're winning games and they're able to pound the run game with Gordon and Lindsey, then you don't need to pass for 300 yards every game. Yep. That's great. I mean, that's taking pressure off the offensive line. It's taking pressure off of Locke. So I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. But if they're having to pass like crazy, you would better hope that group gets 3,300 yards because they're going to need it.
Yeah, it's very true. So, I mean, that's a lot. I don't think they'll probably get to that. I'd pounded the under, but again, it makes the offense that much better. And here's something interesting for you. Let's say the Broncos do add Ruggs. Okay, so you have a history, or I guess a reality, where the Broncos don't land Ruggs, and you have a reality where the Broncos do land Ruggs. Which one does Sutton have more yards?
If they land Ruggs, he has more yards.
So you think Ruggs equals better output for Sutton?
Yes, because
which a lot of people, I've heard other people talking about, if you draft a running back that high, that means that you're not making Sutton the number one, which doesn't make any sense to me. And that means that Sutton's going to be wasted, or he's not going to put up the output.
Really, for me, the best case scenario for Sutton when it comes to stats is Ruggs. Because Ruggs is the one that even if he is a lesser talent than Sutton, still requires a safety over the top. You cannot have a cornerback keep up with him. There's maybe like 2 or 3 cornerbacks that can actually keep up with the guy down the field by themselves.
Yep.
And so that's why he would be so great for Sutton, is he requires attention even if Sutton is the better player. So Sutton would get more one-on-one opportunities. And I feel like if Ruggs is in the picture, Sutton could lead the NFL in receiving yards next year. It would not shock me one bit. Yeah. If it's Judy, if it's Lamb, I don't think he will, because they are more high volume kind of guys, where Ruggs is more open things up for everybody else. And also then his receptions are, I saw somebody already message this earlier, that he scores on like 24, 25% of his, Charlie Beagle coming in. 24% of Ruggs' catches are touchdowns.
Crazy. And also, I think all those touchdowns, I saw the stat, it was in Dane Brugler's guide, but it was like every single touchdown that Ruggs had averaged like 28 yards per touchdown reception. So they're explosive touchdowns too. It's not like you're getting in the red zone and just tossing it up to him. He's taking up the yard. So it's pretty interesting. But anyway, back to our big board here. Obviously, we'll see some comments here. I'll give my 5. We'll get back to the board here.
Yeah.
But so number 20 for me, again, another wide receiver. I have Jalen Reagor as my 6th wide receiver, 20 overall. Number 19, I have Patrick Queen, my linebacker 1 at 19 overall from LSU. Number 18, I have Josh Jones, my offensive tackle 5 at 18 from Houston. 17, I have Denzel Mims, wide receiver from Baylor, 17th overall, my wide receiver 5. And 16 overall, I have Xavier McKinney, safety / nickelback, my number 1 safety, and obviously University of Alabama. So Jalen Reagor at 20, Patrick Queen at 19, Josh Jones at 18, Denzel Mims at 17, and Xavier McKinney at 16. So any thoughts, questions, concerns, comments from the peanut gallery?
Honestly, it's pretty close to some of the players that I have in my list here. I have some. We actually have the same number, 19, Patrick Queen. So this is where I kind of go into linebackers and wide receivers in this group. 20th, I have Kenneth Murray. 19, I have Patrick Queen. 18, Denzel Mims. 17, Justin Jefferson. And 16, this is one I know you and I might disagree on, Clavin Chason.
Okay, I did not add him because I feel like he's more pure edge. Sell me on him. Why are you taking an edge rusher that high? Is he edge? Is he hybrid?
He's edge. It's just the talent side of things. Kind of like I'm guessing that both of us have Chase Young in our top 3.
Yes.
And it's not that he's completely pure edge. I mean, he can move inside a little bit on some rushing opportunities, but it's just the talent. And I'm banking on this guy being able to develop into something great. It's not a position of need, obviously, but the more you can add to the pass rush, the better your defense can be. I mean, the more pressure you can put on a quarterback, the more you can keep guys fresh coming on the field, the more Von Miller's fresh as he gets older.
Yeah.
You don't know what Chubb is going to be coming off injury.
It's true.
And beyond that, you want to keep it strong beyond the years of even Von Miller. And so it's kind of like the turning over the torch of going from DeMarcus Ware with Von Miller to Von Miller with Bradley Chubb to now maybe these two together of Chason and Chubb. I mean, it keeps it very, very strong.
Yeah.
So
Chason's also a baby. I think he's one of the youngest players in the draft.
Right, exactly. He's got room to grow. And if he's already showing signs that he could be an elite edge rusher, that's one of the top 3 positions that you need in football. It's hard for me not to have him in my top 30.
Okay, so you have Patrick Queen, like me, as your number 1 linebacker, or unless you have Isaiah Simmons as a linebacker. But you have Patrick Queen above the likes of Kenneth Murray and Zach Bond. Why Patrick Queen? I mean, he didn't come on. He didn't really even start until halfway through the season for LSU. Had some issues early on with his tackling, his processing. However, he might have been, outside of Joe Burrow, he might have had the single best game of any player in the national championship game. So what is it that Patrick Queen to you that makes him a linebacker worthy of a first-round pick, but also your first linebacker, excluding Isaiah Simmons?
Part of it for me between him and Kenneth Murray is I feel like he is one that has shown better signs of being able to show instincts. He had his times of guessing wrong, but he got better as the season went on of showing that he knew exactly what was going on, where to be, when to use his athleticism, all those kind of things, where Kenneth Murray is kind of one of those, I want to see it before I do it.
Mm.
And he's got the athleticism in college to make up for it, but there's a lot of guys that have great athleticism that get to the NFL, and because they are a half step late getting to where they need to be, they're done. And so that's why, for me, I have him above Kenneth Murray. What about you?
I just think Patrick Queen is far and away the better coverage player. If I'm using a first-round pick on a player, they have to impact the pass game in some way. And Kenneth Murray right now, he's see ball, go get ball, kind of a chase linebacker in the run game. And he can be good in the screens and the flats and whatnot. But he's also, I feel like it's a little bit of a dog chasing cars. And you go up against the Kansas City Chiefs with all the pre-snap movements and the play actions that they do and the doodads and whistles. He is going to be flat-footed, hips turn the wrong way too many times. I mean, Kenneth Murray can make some splash plays, but there's also 2-3 plays a game where the reason that the defense gave up a big play is because Kenneth Murray messed up. Yeah. So I don't know. I get the appeal for the athleticism and also the leadership, but I don't see the instincts and I don't see the coverage ability. I just don't see the intelligence on the field. I'm going to be completely honest. And I see that from Patrick Queen more so. So that's why I have Kenneth Murray as my third linebacker in comparison. So we should get to some of the questions here before we get on to our top 15.
Yep. Brian Greenfield coming in with the super chat. Really appreciate it. What is your top 3 wide receivers in order? It looks like he gives us his CD, Judy, and Mims. Tired of fans begging for us to move up and grab Ruggs. He was a number 2 college wide receiver, so why on God's green earth would anyone want to move up? Top feet, him makes no sense to me.
DK Metcalf was a number 2 wide receiver at Ole Miss. Terry McLaurin was the number 3 wide receiver for Ohio State. I mean, it comes down to the skill set and how guys are utilized. Denver has their number 1. They don't need a number 1 guy. They don't need a guy who's going to come in and get 10 targets a game. They need a guy that can help dictate coverages and create explosive pass plays. So, I mean, I wrote I think it was 3,000 words long article this past week on why Ruggs is just such a perfect marriage to the Broncos. I mean, it's like drafting, the example I could use is Will Fuller. Will Fuller completely changes the dynamic of the Houston Texans offense, even though they already have DeAndre Hopkins. Even though the offensive line is really hit or miss. Right. Having that guy that can dictate coverage, it matters. So and there's definitely some apprehension there.
I'll keep pounding this till I die. I don't think that Ruggs was a great fit with Tua and that offensive system and what they wanted to do. They were an efficient offensive system. They wanted to take when teams are having to crash down to stop their run game, they want to hit then right behind that. They wanted to get the ball out of Tua's hands. He has injury history, so that's another thing of you don't want him holding on to the ball too long while the ball's, while players are trying to get down the field. And also on the other side of things, Ruggs was always on his blind side.
Yeah.
Where in the Broncos offense, most likely he would be on the site that, Locke's eyes are going to go straight to where Ruggs is going. He's going to be one of the first targets in the system, where Ruggs is more of a kind of a distract the defense for other guys to get open kind of thing.
You have to pay attention to this guy. If you don't, we're going to him. But if you do, then we're going to option
right.
A.
And it's also, you look at 70% of their games, they're up 49-0 by halftime. So they're not looking for the big play down the field. They're looking for the let's kill the clock, run this game out kind of thing. Yeah. So again, there were some things there. I do like his list. CD is actually, I guess I'll give this away. CD is still my number one wide receiver. I've gone back and forth. I'm finally committing. CD is my number one wide receiver.
Okay.
Ruggs will be number 2, and Judy will be number 3.
Okay. Well, and Ruggs isn't going to be a savior. We have Tony here, who's in here last week, not a big Ruggs fan. I just think he's a perfect complement for the offense already. But you know what? If the Broncos don't get Ruggs, if the Broncos don't get a wide receiver in the first round, it's going to be fine. It's just, there's many different ways to skin a cat, as they say. Don't skin cats, folks. Anyway, moving on now. So I had, obviously, Queen, Jones, Mims, McKinney. Now I'm on my 15th player. I saw somebody comment earlier, wow, I'm surprised you had Jefferson over Mims, Carl. I'm here to join you. I also have Jefferson over Mims as my wide receiver 4. I do think that it's really close for me. I could go back and forth, but I think Mims is the safer player, and that's probably the reason I do it. And because we're going to the Pat Shurmur offense where it's going to be 11 personnel, there's going to be options for slots, weapons. Jefferson is going to play the slot, and A.J. Brown, good slot weapon. Juju Smith-Schuster, good slot weapon. I do think Jefferson can play the boundary. They had Jamar Chase there. No reason to move Jamar Chase out of the boundary for Jefferson, because as good as Jefferson is, Jamar Chase would probably be wide receiver 1 in this class. So I really like Jefferson a lot. I think he's probably one of the safer wide receivers in this class. He can do a lot. He ran a lot of different routes, and he makes sense for this type of offense. But if you wanted to take Mims, I have them separated by only Xavier McKinney's between them. So if we were in a war room right now, and let's say Eric was next to me or virtually next to me, because it's going to be all virtual this year, saying, nope, we got to take Mims, I wouldn't fight it. But I have Jefferson at 15. I actually have Jeff Gladney at 14, my cornerback 3. He's a little bit older. He's had the injury. I just love his tape. He's a dog. He's not as good at the top of the route stem as some other guys, but he comes down. There was that game he got ejected in, which I don't know. It would have been a clean hit, 10 years ago. It's kind of like Denzel Ward a few seasons ago. It was that game against Rutgers where he came down, had an incredible hit. It was clean. It was so violent he got ejected. So I love Gladney. I think he's probably one of the best off-coverage cornerbacks in this class, and he has some inside-outside versatility, which you want. So I love Gladney. He's my 14. 13, okay, I went back and watched the tape of 2018. I have C.J. Henderson as my number 13. He's my cornerback too. I know that the tackling is not the best, but as Fangio said at the end of the year, this year, I had to go back to the press conference as well and listen to make sure he actually said this. He said that it doesn't matter what type of cornerback it is, it's whether they can cover or not. He tried to go to man coverage against the Chiefs. It didn't work. That's something that he may have to do because Patrick Mahomes kills zone coverage. So C.J. Henderson might be the best man corner in this class. He scares the piss out of me. I'm sorry, cussing or whatever we're going to say. At 13, because he does not tackle, or at 13, because he doesn't tackle well. But the upside is tremendous. So I don't love it, but if he's the best guy there, then you make it work. He can cover. He can cover. That's what the job of the cornerback is. He can cover. I wish he tackled better. Number 12 for me, I actually have Derek Brown. I love Derek Brown. It's the pass game questions as far as he goes. He's a great run stuffer, but there's a lot of good run stuffers in this class. You can find run stuffers. They found Mike Purcell off the street last year. So I like Derek Brown a lot. That's nothing to take away from him, but I have him at 12 here. Number 11, I have Javon Kinlaw, my only player with injury concerns here. He's just got so much upside and versatility, and he can rush the passer better than Brown. So it's a coin flip between those two. I just went with the upside and the pass rush ability because, again, if you're using a first-round pick on somebody, if they don't impact the pass game, I don't want them.
Yeah.
I don't want them.
Okay. All right. Well, mine is 15 is Jalen Reagor. 14 is Andrew Thomas. 13 is Xavier McKinney.
Okay.
12 is C.J. Henderson. 11, Mekhi Becton. and 10, Javon Kinlaw.
Shouldn't have said 10. That's too much, right?
Oh, did I? Sorry, I went too far.
It's okay.
I got excited.
So say it again.
Wanted to keep going. Rager at 15, Thomas at 14, McKinney at 13, Henderson at 12, Becton at 11.
Okay, so you have 2 offensive tackles here in this range.
Yep.
And so tell me, you had Becton as your offensive tackle 3 and Thomas as your offensive tackle 4. And you've pretty much seen those guys flipped every which way. And obviously you haven't listed the other 2 big guys. But what made you land at that decision?
It does come down to a little bit of upside. And it does come down to the Broncos have 2 great running backs. So you want the guy that is going to absolutely be a great impact in the run game. And Becton, he destroys people. I mean,
Yes,
you go. There's very few times you can find highlight videos of offensive tackles. Becton is one of those guys. You could go have a 10-minute highlight video of him just destroying people and just staring at him going, what are you going to do? So that's why I have him a little bit higher than Thomas, where Thomas, he's probably the safer pick, but he doesn't have the upside. He doesn't have the feet that I quite like for the left tackle spot. I mean, he's probably the most advanced. He's probably the most NFL ready day one of all the top offensive tackles in this draft. But at the same time, a lot of what I'm looking at for the tackle group is 2021, because I don't even know if they're going to start at tackle in 2020.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There'd be a good chance they're not playing tackle. And that's why the other 2 guys also get a little bit of bump, because I do think they'd be better guards than Becton or Thomas.
I can't disagree with that at all. And also welcome to the Xavier McKinney Club.
Thank you.
So you had him actually higher than I did. I love McKinney's tape. He tested poorly enough without the pro day to rectify that 40, where it just scares me a little bit. Bit, especially when you can get Jeremy Chin, Kyle Duggar, Terrell Burgess later on. I mean,
I broke down, and I guess I should have said this at the beginning. I broke down my draft by my top 7 are guys that I'm willing to, if they fall below pick number 8 and lower, they're guys I'm willing to try to trade up for at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And then picks 8 through 13 are guys that I would be happy if we took them at pick 15. And then pick 14 and beyond on this, or number 14 and beyond, are guys I would not be happy about, but would understand to a degree if we took them there at 15.
Yep.
And then it kind of goes into guys that I would really like to see fall to second round, kind of. Yep. So that's kind of how I broke down my list. And so for me, Xavier McKinney is a guy I'm excited for at 15. CJ Henderson's a guy I can get behind at 15. Mekhi Becton is another guy I can get behind at 15. Andrew Thomas, again, I'd understand it. I just wouldn't be jumping off the couch going, yes, we got our guy.
Yeah. And the thing with Thomas for me, that I went back and I watched some of him again, and I get the safety valve for him. And in a season where there is potentially no off-season program, no rookie program, I mean, Thomas, he comes in, he's safe. And I think that's going to be valued more this season than previous seasons. Yeah. So, and speaking of it, me, Mr. Andrew Thomas detractor, so to speak, still my offensive tackle number 4, but I have him here at 10 overall and ready for some offensive tackles because they're all in my top 10. Number 9 overall, I have Mekhi Becton. So neck and neck. I mean, pick your poison. If somebody was like, you know what, Andrew Thomas is the way to go, I probably wouldn't fight you too hard. I just think Becton's got special upside and that length. I mean, I was worried a little bit about the body type, but when he came in with that low BMI and the work ethic he's put in and how he's changed his body, it's not a Terrence Knighton situation where, the dude is not putting in the work to keep the pounds off. Right. He's a specimen.
Right.
And so obviously a little bit of concerns with guys that big breaking down or guys that big not playing in the league. But you know what? The sample size is small. There's just simply not that many guys that big. So I don't even know if I can take too much from that. Number 8 overall, CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver 3 for me. I think CeeDee Lamb might be the best wide receiver in this class. I just think he's probably the least compatible with Courtland Sutton of the big 3, quote unquote. So I'd love CeeDee Lamb again. If you were pounding the table for him and Henry Ruggs wasn't there wide fire, then I wouldn't compat you. So number 7, I have Jerry Jeudy again. CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy. I could go either way. Honest to God, I go either way. I feel like Jerry Jeudy's skill set transitions a little bit more to this defense, and I think he brings a little bit. He's just a much higher floor, in my opinion. But somebody asked earlier, who's the best blocker in this class of the big 3? It's CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb gets it, man. He gets after it. So I love CeeDee Lamb.
But I put Henry Ruggs in number 2.
Of the big 3, yes, I agree. However, number 1 would be Mims.
Yeah, I just Ruggs is a go-getter. That's one thing I love is that he has the little details down. He's not afraid to go mix it up in the run game. He's not afraid to help in little ways to help his teammates. Those things stick out to me when I'm evaluating receivers and trying to differentiate. I can't even say the word.
Differentiate.
There you go. Between the two. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, he's an alpha. All the reports are of that wide receiver room. Ruggs was the second best or third best wide receiver there. Reports from the coaches was that the alpha in the room, the guy who made people get in line and work in practice and whatnot, it was Ruggs. He was the dog in that room. So that, I mean, again, word of mouth. I'm not able to talk with the coaches and hear them say that directly. I think it was Dane Brugler who tweeted that out, but I'll take that at face value. So it does matter. And then so I had Jerry Jeudy at 7. Number 6, I have Jedrick Wills Jr. So back-to-back Alabama players there. Jedrick Wills, I love his versatility. Is he going to be left tackle in the league? I don't know if he has the athleticism for that or the body type, but right tackle or either guard spot, you're getting a heck of an offensive lineman there. I like him a lot. And I mean, some people have painted me as this wide receiver or bust person. I'm just, wide receiver has to be an option in the first round. But I have Jedrick Wills over both Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb on my big board. So it matters. Oh my gosh, we got a big one coming in. Sorry, I just saw the purple flash on the screen.
Whoa. Liberal hater. Thanks, buddy. Wow. Sorry, Chad and Zach. I want zero talk of politics involved with Broncos talk. I stopped watching a supposed Bronco YouTuber for the exact same reason. Again, I apologize, Chad.
We are much better looking than Chad and Zach, but we appreciate the donation, the super chat there. So really appreciate that. And obviously the name doesn't play itself out to non-political talk, but that's life. But we really appreciate it, and obviously we're trying to keep it non. State of the world. Everything's It's Broncos country in here right now. So that's what we're trying to keep it at.
Yep. So let's just talk football. Love football.
And it's an escape. It's an escape for me too. I have 2 escapes right now, which is not great. Actually, 4. My lovely wife, my awesome cat, beer, and football. So cheers to that. Thank you so much. Anyway, so 10 through 6 again. I had Andrew Thomas, Mekhi Becton, CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, and Jedrick Wills. So let's hear yours because we're at 42 minutes here. Want to get to some of these questions, but obviously more questions here, but let's hear your 10 through 6.
I got
you already said your 10.
I got Kinlaw, Jeudy, Brown, Ruggs, and Lamb. So you were just talking about how you're not wide receiver or bust in the first round. I have 2 offensive linemen ahead of CeeDee Lamb and Henry Ruggs.
Wow. Okay. I do not. But we'll figure that out in a second. So you have CeeDee Lamb as your wide receiver 1. Tell him why he's the wide receiver 1 for you.
Just his entire all-around game. I mean, there's nothing the guy can't do. Now, yes, he's not going to be the best deep threat per se, speed-wise, but he is one of the best deep ball trackers I've seen. I mean, there's plays where this guy is in triple coverage, and he is the one coming down with it because he times his jumps well. He's strong with his hands. He's got some pretty good route running. Again, he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's always open. And it's going to him. He's the number 1 player in the receiving game for Oklahoma, and yet this guy still finds a way to get open, even though he's double, triple covered. When I see that, it's just hard for me to ignore that. Yeah. And while, yes, he's probably the least good fit for what the Broncos need, it's just hard for me to pass on the true number 1 wide receiver, guy that I could see being a top 5 wide receiver in football. And to me, it's still going to get a lot of the same things done of teams having to worry about. You can't leave CeeDee Lamb one-on-one. You can't leave Sutton one-on-one. Fant, good luck. I mean, with that kind of speed, trying to cover him with a linebacker or a safety. And so, again, that's why for me, I just finally decided, okay, stick with this guy being your number 1 guy. He's always been the guy that I watch and I'm going, this is the guy. Even when he was a freshman, when he was a freshman in college, I was sitting there saying, man, this guy is going to be special. And so for 3 years, I have watched this guy and said he's going to be special. And I feel like I got to this offseason and I almost had kind of that, I've watched too much.
Yeah.
And so then finally, like I said, just kind of comes full circle and reach that point of just saying, stop overthinking this. Just go with your guy.
And I do want to point out CeeDee Lamb, maybe not the fastest guy, but according to 3 Sigma Athlete, which has a bunch of data recorded from the combine, CeeDee Lamb's 40, it was pretty good. He ran a 4.5, which is, that'd be the fastest wide receiver the Broncos have, not including Deontay Spencer, who's more of a specialist than a receiver. But Lamb apparently ran a 1.46 10-yard split, which was, I think, the fastest or second fastest. The only guy I know that was definitely faster is Ruggs with a 1.4340, which is, I think, the second fastest 10-yard split ever recorded. So, again, we're talking back Ruggs again. But Lamb, that initial speed, it's good. He's a guy, and he's really dynamic after the catch. I thought he improved a lot this last year in his route running as well, even though he had a worse passer of the football. I wish that Kyler Murray was still there so we could have seen what Lamb could have done with a little bit better quarterback. Granted, Hurts is not terrible, but it's not first overall pick level passing the football. So definitely a good pick there. I can't really argue any of it other than you're wrong because mine is better. But I appreciate it. We're definitely moving on here. Top 5, final 5 right now. And I got to say that I guess I can talk about it after we're done with this because I have tiers here. These last 5 and 4 are on that second tier. I have 3 guys alone at tier number 1. But my number 5 player, my wide receiver 1 is Henry Ruggs. It's Broncos specific. He brings what they need. He brings what they don't have. He brings what's the most valuable in the NFL right now. And if you call him just a speed receiver, I question what you're watching. I question if you understand what you're watching. I wrote an article. It's pinned on my Twitter right now. You can go to Nick Kendell MHH right now. It's right there. So you can see it. I wrote a gosh darn thesis on Henry Ruggs, why it makes sense for the Broncos for a multitude of reasons. He's been number 5. That being said, I have my boy, my actual number 1 boy in my heart and my soul is Tristan Wirfs. Number 4 for me. I love Wirfs. I think he's versatile. He's scheme dynamic, scheme transcendent. Right tackle, left guard, right guard, power zone. It doesn't matter. I love Tristan Wirfs. So he's my number 4 over Henry Ruggs. I was back and forth between those two. I'll be honest. I almost put those two on their own tier. Those are my favorite 2 players in the draft. I've wrote long pieces on 2 players in this draft class. Henry Ruggs and Tristan Wirfs. Love them. Number 3, Isaiah Simmons. I would play him as a slot player, but you're going to also use him as safety. You're going to use a little bit at linebacker. You're going to lose a little bit at edge rusher. But I think that overhang safety role, that Derwin James role, perfect for him. So perfect for him. Number 2, Jeffrey Okudah. One of my best cornerbacks I've watched in multiple years. Good hips, good off ball, good press, good tackling, good ball skills. I mean, he's as safe as they come. I really like Jeffrey Okudah. Number 1, Chase Young. I mean, Broncos aren't going to get him, but he's the best player in the draft. So it is what it is. Even with Joe Burrow, I think Chase Young is the best player in the draft.
All right. Well, my 5, I have Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs at number 4, Jeffrey Okudah at number 3, Isaiah Simmons at number 2, and Chase Young, obviously, number 1. Nothing too shocking.
So I guess I will read through mine now, and just so we can kind of wrap it up, and you can find some questions here, then you could read through yours. How does that go? So you can get your questions in now for Carl, guys, before we get on out of here, because we got about another 5-10 minutes. So my number 1 player, Chase Young. Number 2, Jeffrey Okudah. My number 1, number 2 players, Ohio State. Number 3, Isaiah Simmons. Number 4, Tristan Wirfs. Number 5, Henry Ruggs. Number 6, Jedrick Wills. Number 7, Jerry Jeudy. Number 8, CeeDee Lamb. Number 9, Mekhi Becton. Number 10, Andrew Thomas. Number 11, Javon Kinlaw. The knee scares me. He's still got massive upside. I didn't perform the medical on him, so I'm not going to take him off, but I'll take him there. Number 12, Derek Brown. Number 13, CJ Henderson. Number 14, Jeff Gladney. Number 15, Justin Jefferson. Number 16, Xavier McKinney. Number 17, Denzel Mims. Number 18, Josh Jones. Number 19, Patrick Queen. Number 20, Jalen Rager. Number 21, Austin Jackson. 22, Brandon Ayuk. 23, Ezra Cleveland. 24, AJ Terrell. Number 25, Cesar Ruiz. Number 26, Zach Bond. Number 27, Christian Fulton. Number 28, Kenneth Murray. Number 29, Noah Igbahanahi. And number 30, Trevon Diggs. And I think I said that last name right. So first time today.
There you go. All right. Couple questions here that kind of stuck out. One that I thought was interesting, where do you think the draft starts? And the
draft
sense
starts
of
at 2, I think.
Starts at 2? Okay.
Because there's enough rumors out there, concerns that really, it starts at 3, but I still think there's a chance that the Redskins could surprise us. So, there's talk that they might start Kyle Allen over Dwayne Haskins. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is beloved in Washington as one would think. So I think 2 is enough in the air where you could see a trade happen, or you could see them take a quarterback, honestly. Okay. So yeah. I feel like 2 is enough of a question mark. And this year, it could be as crazy of a draft as we've ever seen because there's so much not known right now.
That is true. I thought this was a good one just because for me, I feel like we know a pretty good who are going to be the top 10 guys. I feel like there's a pretty good understanding of who those guys are going to be. Sorry. But DBU coming in with Jay Stylos. I'm sure that since it's the Jets, they're probably going to go wide receiver rather than protecting their franchise quarterback, who they drafted 3rd overall a few years ago. I actually think they're going to go offensive line.
I think so too.
I think that from what I've understood, they really like Becton. They really like
Thomas.
Yeah, they really like Thomas. Of course, they like your boy from Iowa as well.
He won't get there.
He won't. It's true. But I do. I think if there is an offensive lineman that is still available, if they don't all 4 go in the top 10, that the Jets will go that direction, because I do think there's a lot of guys that like the wide receivers. It's kind of one of those, there's a bigger drop-off from those top 4 offensive tackles to the next group than at wide receiver from the top 3 to the next group.
There's still a tier difference, though.
There is, but it's kind of one of those, you can still get an A- kind of wide receiver in the 2nd round, where you're looking at more B+ kind of offensive tackles there in the 2nd round. I mean, they're still good. I like them. I really do. There's a lot of offensive tackles that I like in this draft, but it just, I don't know. I do think you're going to see some of the wide receivers maybe fall just a little bit. I know Benjamin Albright tweeted that out earlier, saying that he thinks there's going to be 4 quarterbacks, 4 offensive tackles, Simmons, Okudah, possibly Henderson. Who else am I missing here? Brown.
All 4 quarterbacks.
Yep. So, just some things to kind of keep in mind, that it could really work out well in the Broncos' favor in this draft. Richard Pasha coming in. Thanks for the great content as always, guys. Love you guys at MHH. Yes, really appreciate it. Hashtag boycott Kisla. Hashtag MHH better than the posts.
I'm just cheersing to cheers. There's nothing in that post that made me want to do it more than normal, but there was an urge. So I'm going to thank you very much.
Yeah. You guys are seriously the best fans. I'm cheering as well here. You guys are the best. You guys support us through thick and thin, and we really appreciate it. I mean, obviously, you guys showing up tonight. We've got about 250 people in here watching live, and then, of course, we're going to have others watching. You guys have just been such great supports throughout this whole thing that's going on, and so we really appreciate it, and we love you guys.
Giving us a distraction in these weird times, as hopefully we're doing for you.
Yeah. This would be nice from Tony. Raiders will draft like AJ Terrell at 12.
I saw somebody say T. Higgins too.
They really like those guys from there, from Clemson.
They believe in the wide receiver wins stat. Even though quarterback wins isn't even a thing, they want to take guys from winning programs. So maybe they'll reach and take like Trevon Diggs or something. That would be cool. Who knows? I mean, gosh, Gruden's always unpredictable, and Mike Mayock, really like Mike Mayock on the NFL. Obviously, when he worked at the NFL Network, I liked him even more last year when he took Clelin Ferrell at 4. To be completely honest.
Yep.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, Carl, let's hear your top 30 before we get out of here.
Okay. Well, obviously, number 1, Chase Young. Number 2, Simmons. 3, Okudah. 4, Wirfs. 5, Wills. 6, Lamb. 7, Ruggs. 8, Brown. 9, Judy. 10, Kinlaw. 11, Becton. 12, Henderson. 13, McKinney. 14, Thomas. 15, Rager. 16, Chason. 17, Jefferson. 18, Mims. 19, Queen. 20, Murray. 21, Gladney. 22, Fulton. 23, Jones. 24, Bond. 25, Delpit. 26, Matabuke. 27, Jackson. 28, Johnson. 29, Chenault. And 30, Diggs.
Man, there just really is a drop off there after like 20 overall, isn't there? Like you're listening like Chenault to obviously injury concern there, Delpit, Matty Buki. After 20, I mean, I could see any order of players 20 to 60. Yeah, honestly, like it's crazy. So Broncos dropping from 10 to 15 with that Week 17 result, okay, but at least they're not like picking, or don't have a first round pick this year. But that also makes it harder to trade back. So we'll see. And there's Duke showing off the guns. Gosh.
Yep. I feel intimidated right now.
Yeah, gosh. Let me eat some more of this cookie.
Nick, Carl, a big old Colorado yeehaw to both of you. Thank you all for all that you're doing. We appreciate it, Duke. That's great. And then we got Nad coming in here. Ludlow with if offensive tackle, wide receiver are gone at 15, is Ruiz too much of a reach?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I love Cesar Ruiz. If they could trade back to 25 to 35 and took him, awesome. But I really like Matt Hennessy. I think I'm going to have one more mock before we get out of here. And spoiler alert, I'm going to work Matt Hennessy into it. So I guess I'll just ruin that for everybody. So,
what? Oh, yeah, man.
I really do like Matt Hennessy. Yep. And I know that a lot of people, especially with coming off the Senior Bowl, Lloyd Cushenberry's stock was high, guy playing at LSU, blah, blah, blah. I think Matt Hennessy might be the better center. So we'll see. But
all right. Oh, thought I'd get this in here. Micah Melby talking about some late round wide receivers. Can you give your thoughts on James Porsche?
I like him. I think he's got an alpha mentality going for the ball. I wish he was a little bit bigger and faster. I'm curious if he's going to be a little bit more slot limited at the next level. And I don't know. I'm just looking for a little bit more vertical explosiveness in this offense. So guys I do like Porsche, but I would rather take an Isaiah Coulter from Rhode Island, a Watkins from Southern Miss, or obviously a guy that I've enjoyed for a long time, John Hightower from Boise State. So I do like Porsche. I think there's talent there, but there's just other types that I evaluate more for this offense.
Well, let's say we get Ruggs in the first. Would you like him more than later on as a nice complementary piece?
I'm all about stacking speed on speed. So, I mean, if the board falls that way, that's fine. And like pairing a guy like Ruggs with somebody like Laviska Shenault in the third round, now you're talking about different skill sets there. A guy who, they're totally opposite players. Might as well play different positions, honest to God. But that's something that would interest me.
Yeah. All right. I want to get this one in real quick because I think this is an awesome question. Plus, number one fan in Kansas. That's right. Let's get our Kansas people in here.
Got that
Andy
Rich Eisen picture too.
Yeah. Andy Rock Lovato, your best 2 first picks for the Broncos, and how do you get there? Number one fan in Kansas.
I think it was asked this last week, but I'm going to nail the upside. I'm going to swing for the fences. I'm going to take Henry Ruggs, 15, assuming he's there, and then guy who's going to be sitting on ice that first year, but going to be starting in 2021, Austin Jackson at 46.
Okay. Well, I'm going to change mine from last week and go with CeeDee Lamb because he is my number one wide receiver. And I will go with Jalen Johnson still in the second. I love his game. I love his fit with the Broncos. I just think he really rounds out that secondary, allows that pass rush to really just take off. And really, for me, that defense all of a sudden becomes a top 5 unit that really makes life easier for Drew Lock and the offense. They can run the football. They can do a lot of things that they love to do. I would love to see that completely finish out there.
Yeah. So, yep, really appreciate it. But guys, we probably should get out of here. You can find Carl on Twitter at Carl Dumler MHH and myself at Nick Kendell MHH. Make sure you head on over to myhuddle.com, an affiliate of the Maven Coalition and Sports Illustrated. Go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating. Listen to us on there if you haven't. Obviously, you're listening to us now. Go back and listen to it again. No, I'm just kidding. But your support can really help us continue to bring you these Denver Bronco deep dives. You can follow the Building the Broncos podcast and all our other great audio content by subscribing to the Huddle Up podcast, wherever you listen to these shows, Spotify, iTunes, etc. You can follow us on Twitter at Mile High Huddle and at BTB Football Pod. Also, before we get out of here, we want to thank our Super Chat superstars from last week. Obviously, we got Bleeds Orange B, Marcus Clay 89. Hello, it's Chase A0350 Legend, The Real Al Ron 86, Terry Randall, always, Nad Lunlow, always, Weagle, Holden Adams, Liberal Hater, again, thank you again today, Chris Sanders, and Duke Boyton. Appreciate you guys so much, and thank you everybody who donated again. We'll give you a shout out again at this time next week, which will be our last pod our last Building the Broncos before the NFL draft. So again, follow us on Mile High Huddle at BTB Football Pod. For Carl, I'm Nick, wrapping up another episode of the Building the Broncos podcast. Carl, anything you want to touch on before we get on out of here?
Well, I would sell Chad to draft Simmons. Yes, I would. Sorry, Chad, but I love Simmons. And I think Chad would be okay with it. But
I would make sure that he's going to a good home first.
Yes.
Is he going to be moderately tortured? Then he's gone. But like brutally tortured, I like Chad enough to not have him brutally tortured.
Okay. But no, again, thank you guys for everything this week. And just excited just to ride into next week, the draft. We're finally here, man. Oh man. Woo! I'm getting pumped. My wife is noticing an energy change in me this week. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited and cannot wait until we talk again next Tuesday. And really, we're going to do a mock draft. I'm going to give you a little hint that we're going to be breaking it down and seeing what we got. So don't miss that. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. And also, Carl, send me your top 30 and I will make an image and we can share that out so that way everybody can see it. So thanks everybody for being on here. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.